Jake here from SHW Offroad, and today I'm going to show you just how easy it is to assemble an SHW Offroad Ultralite Series drawer system. Let's get started. I typically like to begin by laying out all of my drawer pieces. There are two main sections of an Ultralite SHW Offroad drawer system. There's a drawer system chassis, which is the enclosure, and then there's the drawers that go inside the enclosure. The drawers also act as the bins. In each drawer, you should have a drawer bottom, you should have a right side, a left side, a drawer front, as well as a drawer back. To begin, we're going to want to fill all of our keyholes with some of the silver cross dowels. As you push the cross dowels into place, align the slot with the keyhole. Now that we have all of the cross dowels in place, we're ready to start assembling the drawer. Find the black hardware included in the hardware kit and pick out the machine screws, the 1/4 ones. Note that we've got our threaded inserts on this side, so we'll want to make sure that the raised lip on the drawer side ends up on the opposite end. Let's go ahead and flip the drawer bottom in the correct orientation and attach one of the sides. As you thread the 1/4 machine screws into the drawer side, make sure not to over torque. If you start to see the cross dowel pull out from the keyhole, you're tightening it too much. The machine screw only needs to be just a little bit past hand tight. One of the screws has a little bit of tension as I'm trying to thread it in. I'm going to align the cross dowel, make sure everything's starting the way it should. It's still fighting me a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and replace the screw. There should be extras in your kit if you need them. That's better. All right, one side's on, let's move to the next. Now that we have the sides of the drawer on, I'm going to go ahead and flip it upright and install the drawer back. This is a good time to make sure everything lines up well and make any adjustments if you need to. Let's go ahead and install our drawer back. Again, we're going to start in these upright corners and then move down to the lower corners. Make sure the back is nice and flush with the top. Not too tight. And then pull the drawer into square by installing the lower bolts and lining up the lower corners. Flip the drawer over, we're ready to go ahead and install the front. The front installs the same way as the back. Again, I'm going to check for alignment and make any adjustments that I need to make. Looks good. Start on the top two holes again. One drawer down, let's go ahead and do the same procedure on the other drawer. Set this one aside. All right, we have all of our cross dowels installed. Now we're ready to go ahead and attach the sides just like the other one. Note that we've got our threaded inserts on this side, so we'll want to make sure that the raised lip on the drawer side ends up on the opposite end. So the screw seems to be giving me a little bit of a problem. I've swapped the screw once already, it still hasn't fixed it. So I think the dowel might actually be the issue. What we can do is rotate the dowel 180 degrees and try to engage the threads from the other end. That did the trick. All right, the sides are on. Let's move on to the back. All right, we have both the drawers installed. I'm going to go ahead and install the UHMWs on this drawer. And by the UHMWs, I do mean our sliding strips. I like to start on the bottom. Grab a couple sliding strips. It should be included in the box for you. Find where the holes line up. Once you have that figured out, grab some of the included 1024 screws in your Phillips head screwdriver. Go ahead and start screwing the UHMW sliding strips in. If you haven't already, go ahead and press the two dowels that go into the drawer side on the back raised lip. Once you have them in place, you want to push the dowels about halfway through so that the holes are perfectly halfway in this drawer side piece. Once you have them set, go ahead and grab one of the shorter UHMW strips, line it up, and you'll want to use the shorter Phillips head black quarter 20 screws for this part. Next slide. There. As I'm going along here, I'm starting to notice that some of my corners are a little lower than others, and I'd like to get those nice and flush if I can. I'm going to grab a mallet, tap them out, get them nice and even. That looks a little better. Let's go ahead and install those UHMW sliding strips on the drawer sides. All right, the drawers are loaded with UHMW strips. Let's move on to the drawer system chassis. Now I like to start with the drawer system bottom and the drawer system side panel. I start with the drawer system bottom upside down. I know the piece is upside down when I can see the countersinks facing up at me. I then find the position that my side panel needs to go on. In order to determine the position of the side panel, you can either reference the label on the panel, or if the label isn't there, these front two countersunk holes will always be on the front side of the drawer bottom, or the drawer system bottom. And we know this is the front side because there are no countersunk holes. So we always want these countersunk holes towards the front, and we want them facing in side, the drawer system. I know that this side goes on this side of the drawer system because these countersunk holes are facing down in this position, which will be up when we flip the drawer system upright. You can reference the diagrams in your instruction manual to make sure you have everything in the right position. Before we can attach the side to the drawer bottom, we need to go ahead and load it with some dowels and get our black 1/4 machine screws ready as well. On most vehicles, you'll have a drawer side that closely resembles the one that we've already installed. However, the Jeep JLU has a little bit of a special side, so it might look a little different than your vehicle. It installs the same either way. Remember, you want the countersunk holes towards the front of the vehicle and facing in. Alright, now that we have the sides on our drawer system, we can go ahead and install the back panel as well. On your back panel, we're going to want all our keyholes facing in, just like our sides. We want this row of holes to end up on the top side of the drawer system. And remember, we have the drawer system upside down right now, so the top side would be here. So we want to put all those holes facing that way. Let's go ahead and load it with some cross dowels and bolt it in place. We've got the back on, and let's install our center divider. But first, let's load it again with some threaded dowels. When you install the threaded dowels into the center divider, you want to position the threaded dowels about halfway in the through hole. This is one of the only pieces with a through hole for threaded dowel keyholes. Here's a look of about what the position of the threaded dowel should be in the center panel. Check the position of the center divider. It can only go in correctly one way. Line up the holes. This front face should be roughly flush. Looks like that's the position you should be in. Alright, we've got our side, center, back, and our other side all installed. We're going to go ahead and flip it upright, grab our top, and start bolting that down. You'll want to go ahead and start all of your bolts all the way around. Once everything's started, you can go back and torque them down. Remember, don't over tighten. I've got the drawer system chassis all put together. I've got the drawers themselves put together. Now all that's left is to install the locking blocks on the underside of the drawers. So let's grab one, get to it. What you'll need is a couple of the included 1024 Phillips head machine screws. You want to position your locking block into place. The locking block is adjustable. Start the screws. Adjust it to your desired position. I typically like to start with the locking block in the furthest back position. So I'm going to put it there and go ahead and tighten it down. Let's go ahead and install the other locking block on the other drawer, and then we'll adjust them as needed. All right, let's see how they do. So these have a little bit of play. We're going to go ahead and adjust them, see if we can get it a little bit tighter. Much better. Looks like this one might be a little bit too far. I'll try to reposition this one a little bit. Looks like the drawers are locking pretty well. This drawer feels a little bit tight in the chassis. I'm going to adjust a little bit and show you how you can adjust it yourself. I feel the tension in the drawer as it's sliding in and out in this corner back here. I'm going to take a mallet and lightly tap this corner. Again, we don't want too much unevenness. We want it to be mostly on a flat plane on the bottom. And what this does is it allows this drawer to sit a little bit lower in the chassis. So maybe we'll get a little smoother slide. Yeah. Much better. All right, our drawer system's all together. You might have some odds and ends and other little pieces still in your box. Make sure you refer to the manual as to where those go. It might differ depending on the vehicle. Many of those small pieces don't get installed onto the drawer system until the drawer system's in the vehicle itself. You can also refer to your install manual as to how your drawer system installs in your vehicle, how it gets tied down or mounted down. But if you have any follow-up questions or any issues, make sure you give us a shout or find us at shwoffroad.com and reach out to us there. Thanks for your support.